In this episode, we are going to tackle the select which makes an ajax call. So first of all, what we need is the ajax caller which we've created earlier. So we're going to import it, ajax caller from, and we go 4 levels up, and we have mixings and then ajax caller. Now let's add it to our mixings. Next, we need to add the property called fields, which will represent a collection of all dependable select. So if we have 3 selects for the dependable drop-down menu, then we will have all 3 of them within this fields collection. They will represent the index and the value associated with it. The type will be object, and default will simply be an empty object. So return empty object. So if we go back to the view, you'll see that I've already created the next form on this page, and you can see the first one doesn't have it because first one will have all the sizes pre-populated when the page first loads. So we're going to pass them through to the options property, and the other ones will have a string representing the endpoint where we want to make a call. So in this case, these options will not be an object, it will actually be a string. And the fields will represent all of the dependable select. So we have size, for color, we have fields color, for brand, we have fields brand. So this is what we are going to be passing through with each ajax call. So when we actually send it to the server, on the server we can figure out what should we return, what item should we return. If size and color has specific selection, what should we return for the brand, and so on. Okay, so if we go back, so after we've added the fields, the next thing I am going to do is create the computed section. So computed, and computed will have 2 properties. Endpoint, which is being used by the ajax caller, and the endpoint in this case will be this. Actually, we need to return it, this options. This will only be used when we actually use an ajax. So options in this case will represent the string representing the endpoint to which we actually want to make the ajax call. Okay, then the next one will be request data. Also, computed property from within the ajax caller, what we are going to be sending with each request. And what we are going to be sending is going to be an object with the ID representing this name, so we know which field is making the call, and then items, which will represent all of the fields that we have here as the property, but we're going to use object, and we are going to assign this fields. So we're taking all these fields, but also overwriting the value for this particular select. So this name, which will give us the name of the given select, and then this selected, whatever we actually have selected after we've made that change. And when we're making a call, because obviously fields may represent the old data by the time we're actually making the selection, and we want to make sure that we have a fresh select value sent with this request. Now, if we scroll down and look at our fetch, at the moment, we are only checking if option is an object. Now, when we're making an ajax call, when we're fetching, we actually have to make this call to the server. So we're going to check if type of, and we're going to use this options. And if it is of the type string, that means that we are expecting a call to the server. So this fetch ajax, and then we hit return, so nothing else happens after this. We terminate the statement. So fetch ajax, so let's create this method right before the reset. Fetch ajax, from within this method, what we are going to do is check if this is disabled, then we don't want to do anything, so we hit return. Otherwise, what we are going to do is this make ajax call, and we are passing this call successful. Otherwise, we are going to pass this call failed. And let's create both of these methods. So if I scroll up, first call successful. When we receive response from the server, what we want to do, we would like to, first of all, stop processing ajax call. So if we have anything going on, some sort of rotations, animations, or anything like this, we want to stop them. And then this records we associate with the response data records. That's the index that I'm going to be returning from the server. If I look at our controller, you'll see that what I'm returning with this call is records and summary. Summary will be used in the following video. For now, it's just records, which will, if we just go to data, it checks what ID. If it's called by color, then it's going to be returning color data, which is depending on what size was previously selected. Then obviously we have specific case for this, and that data will be returned back as records index. So if we go back, that's our on call successful. The next method we need to create is call failed, and this method will receive an error. And as before, we are going to use error handler, which is registered globally, show error, and we're going to pass error as argument, and then this stop processing ajax call to make sure that this is executed before the error is actually being shown. So if we now save everything and recompile the files, so if we refresh the page, you'll see we have this new form. Now if I select the size, you'll see that we're making an ajax call that has returned some data, and populate the color menu. Now I've made another selection, another ajax call, and brand has all the available options. But if I select from the last select, you'll see we're not making an ajax call. This is because if we go back to the editor, you'll see that we are only fetching, calling this fetch method from within the mounted method, which is only happening once, and then whenever the depends on value changes. Because the last select doesn't have any other select that depends on it, that's why no more ajax calls are being made. In the next video, we are actually going to add this functionality, because sometimes after the final selection, you may want to display the price. For instance, if you are working with the e-commerce website, you have to have all selects selected in order to be able to obtain the price of the products. So this is what we are going to tackle in the following video.